Howdy, folks. Happy Tuesday. It's the day before the expansion draft, so everything really seems to be on hold, but the rumors are running rampant, and we'll talk about that. Eck will be joining us in a couple minutes, but we'll start with the pre-show, and go ahead, Russ.
Well, one small thing. The Milwaukee Bucks are chasing a championship tonight. My dad used to print these things called Who's Who in Baseball, but he also did basketball and other sports. And so I do remember the 71 Bucks as an 8-year-old because they were on the back of that book, and they had Oscar Robertson and Lou Alcindor. Everybody keeps saying Kareem brought him to the championship. Well, he was Lou Alcindor then, and Bobby Dandridge. And it's kind of amazing. Again, this is why I always tell people in sports, you just never know when your team is going to win next. And, you know, I was 6 years old when one of them won in the New York Jets, and they haven't won since. And you really don't ever know the answer to that. And that's why anytime they win is gravy. And you just have to, you know, not everybody can win like a million times like the Yankees or the Canadiens.
Yeah, I wish I knew. I wish I knew what that was like, Russ.
I know. Well, just saying. Just as an example, though. I mean, you know, you never know. Now, here's a really dumb story. And you feel horrible. There's an Olympian. She is deaf and blind, a Paralympian, and she had to quit the Olympic team. Now, she is a medal-winning swimmer. She was expected to compete up to 4 medals in Tokyo, and now she's not going because they wouldn't allow her mother and her care assistant, who basically navigates her around the facility because of COVID. And it's like, hold on. Like, there has to be somebody there with a brain that says, okay, as long as you come up COVID negative, both of you are obviously needed here. This is more than just support. This is the only way she is going to be able to show up to the events and possibly win. And I feel horrible that she had to quit because of this.
Yeah, I have to say it. I keep saying it, and I know it's different here, but there were a couple of the Olympic basketball players, Kevin Love, Bradley Beal, they dropped out. I'm not sure. One of them was because of COVID. The other one was because of injury.
Bradley Beal, I think, was because of COVID.
Right. But with every person that drops out, and there were some other people, Coco, I think Coco.
Yeah, Coco Gauff, the tennis player.
I'm sorry. This is the thing.
Not Coco Chanel, Mike.
Not Coco Chanel, not Coco Puffs. These Olympics shouldn't be happening. They really shouldn't be. They should have been postponed.
I agree. And it just, you know, again, it's TV revenue. And there are going to be more athletes that drop out before this. And we'll see how it goes. Here's another great story. Now, this one, you really can't make up. But the Polish swim team sent 6 swimmers home because they had too many swimmers there. And it's like, you know, I mean, if you wanted to not have Polish jokes, don't send too many swimmers. Like, you couldn't have kept – they sent it 6 too many. I could see if it's 1. For 1, I don't think anybody would make a Polish joke. Here's what I was saying. The Polish swimming team sent 6 too many swimmers, and they had to go home from the Olympics. And I'm like, if you wanted to have a Polish joke, there it is. But it's like, you know, if it was 1 too many, okay. This is 6 too many. Like, how does that even happen?
Ladies and gentlemen, the man in black, Johnny Cash.
I know. I'm sorry I'm late. My dog decided to eat some of my other dog's medicine.
Oh boy.
And was going into like this like hyperish. So she's fine. She's gonna be fine. But oh my god, but it was just like it's been another banner day here at the Egglands.
So let me just follow up that story. Are these Polish swimmers going to be taking a boat back to Poland, and will they be swimming back alongside the boat?
No, they're going to take the boat back with the new Polish Navy, and they have the glass bottoms on their boats so they can see the old Polish Navy.
Are Polish jokes still a thing?
Oh, yeah, that's like the oldest one in the book I just gave.
I know, but Polish jokes, I mean, that's like...
I don't know if they're still a thing.
No, they're not. That's
no,
all
in the age of political correctness, no.
No, but I mean, they were like a big thing when we were kids.
They were a big thing for a long time.
Which is ridiculous, but they're not a thing now. No. Yeah, the only hat I have is
I just brought it back.
Sorry, I looked. This hat looks ridiculous. The only hat I could find in a quick second
It's
here.
all right.
This hat lights up actually and like prints things over.
Oh, that's the one that's the one with the messages.
This is the message hat, but it's not charged. So anyway, let's move on. It's not charged right now. You know, you gotta charge your hat.
You don't put your hat into a
Hello,
USB.
Hockey World. Hello, Hockey World. It's Tuesday, July 20th, 2021.
I'm Michael Agello, and if I wore a hat that had messages, it would say, "Go screw yourself."
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology. Like, I don't even know what to say after that.
And I'm Eklund. And happy birthday, Timothy, in the chat room.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday, Tim.
Yeah, we're watching HockeyBuzzcast on Hockey Buzz. We appreciate, Tim, that on your birthday you're watching HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is the podcast that comes to you every Monday through Friday to fill you in on the comings and goings in the hockey world. And we are one day away from the big expansion draft tomorrow night. We will be live during the draft, so we'll be your second screen experience. So guys, make sure you get here and
Charge
watch
up the hat.
We're gonna be commenting about everything. The players that are drafted will be posted on my hat as they're drafted. That'd be ridiculous.
Don't show up during the day. We won't be there.
They're only doing they are doing this dramatically, right? They're only gonna do like one. They'll do like one player at a time, right? They're not gonna just be like, here's the lineup, bam.
The interesting thing, there's a video floating out there with Kevin Weeks at the Seattle market with you know how they throw the fish and the guy catches it.
Yeah.
So there's a video of the fish being thrown, the guy catches it. There's an envelope inside the fish's mouth. Kevin Weeks takes it out and says, "The Toronto Maple Leafs take Alex Kerfoot." Now, the thing is, I'm sure they filmed that for the Toronto Maple Leafs selected Travis Dermott. The Toronto Maple Leafs selected Jared McCann. You know, they probably did 3 or 4 options, and then they have it filmed. But it's not revealing what they're taking.
But it did say on the email that they sent to us, if you're covering it on site, they will have players there on site.
Right.
So clearly there's going to be 5 or 6 players that they know Seattle's taking that they're going to make available to the media. So they're going to put them in some sort of green room situation. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So there's going to be, we're going to see, so we're going to see the rumors
green
now.
Room, the Kraken. Come on, you guys.
I get it.
It's too late.
Release the Kraken. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, it's too late.
I think it's perfect. I was just thinking, like, are we going to start seeing the rumors of like, I saw I saw Mark Giordano in the Calgary airport or whatever. We're going to see those rumors are going to fly out. Like Giordano in the Calgary airport.
Yeah, they're always accurate, aren't they?
Yeah, well, now what Philip Daniel. Let's start with Philip Daniel.
If they get Giordano, that's a good guy to get. I mean,
they will get Giordano. We'll get to that. We're gonna predict. We're gonna pick the other teams say, but let's start off with this Philip Danault stuff, because this is with the Montreal. It really rains. When it rains, it pours. Like, this is just absolutely insane.
Well,
people now there are reports out there, although they're not true, but I think there's truthiness to them in the fact that the Kraken and Danault are talking about a contract. And
those have been. I know that those have been denied, and I don't know whether that means that eventually it won't happen. But there's Elliot Friedman on his podcast said that there's a lot of chatter about the Columbus Blue Jackets and Danault.
There you go.
All I know is that Montreal tried to get him signed earlier in the year. I think it was, I may be wrong, but my memory serves, it was a 5-year deal around $5 million, and he said no, and that looked like a big mistake because he didn't have a good offensive year, but then he played really well in the playoffs. So he's probably going to get a long-term deal at around $5 million and maybe even more.
I don't think. I mean, nobody. The reason I thought that information was bogus. Nobody's given Philip Danault 8 years. Let's start.
No way. No. 5 years, 6 years, yeah.
If you give Philip Danault 6 years of $5 million, just God bless you.
This is a really tough.
It's a horrible contract.
This is a really tough call on him. Like, as far as what he's worth.
Well,
he could be. He's definitely one of the better defensive players in the league. And that's worth something, especially, to an expansion team like that. It could use that kind of a player for sure, because that gives you your shutdown guy. Like, that's something that's great.
Right, but the shutdown guy is only valuable if you're a team that has a chance of winning.
Right.
And, I mean, that's the thing. He's pricing himself out of being with a contending team because he's looking to hit the jackpot.
Right.
And the type of player that he is doesn't make sense for a rebuilding team like a Columbus or a Detroit because they're not winning the next 3 or 4 years. So by the time you're winning or ready to win, he's too old.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, yeah, he's kind of like the last piece on certain teams,
Right.
but he's also so valuable to Montreal that it's hard to imagine, that it's just losing, if they are to lose Price, if they're not going to lose Weber. Weber's hurt, but they're not going to have Weber for the year. But man, if they are to lose Danault,
They're not losing Price.
that's that. I mean, we can't sit there and say that. No one can say that right now. I mean, and not even any. I haven't heard one insider, like even like Elliot Friedman or anybody, like say that. That's just not. We can think that that's the case, but we really can't say it. And that's like we talked about yesterday. We're not going to get into that again. But the fact that that's out there for chance right now is really. There are teams in the league that are pissed off about this. Did you hear about this?
Why? Why are they mad?
A lot of NHL teams think that this situation, that the situation of them leaving Price out there is like a distraction tactic on it. There's a big conspiracy theory going that's keeping Seattle from making other moves. It's keeping Seattle from talking to other teams. It's messing up Seattle in general, and that's messing up teams who had deals with Seattle about goalies. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of teams that just, and then no one has the right to be angry because it's just part of the game. But they're not. But they are like slightly annoyed. You can feel that.
Okay. Say for example, they do take Price, and they do follow up on the Dreger signing.
Mm-hmm.
They can still take 2 other goaltenders.
Right, they're going to.
They're going to, and they're gonna flip them. So they could take Braden Holtby and Vitek Vanacek and trade them.
Yeah.
And if Ron Francis
trade them all, they're going to need 3.
Russ, they can sign a free agent.
I mean, they could.
Yeah.
They can sign James Reimer or Mrazek for 1 year and have their third goalie.
Yeah.
A lot of teams need a backup. The one thing I wanted to say about Danault is I'm getting the Franz Nielsen vibe, and teams should be aware of that.
No,
because he has all the same capabilities, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, this is he was so integral to the Islanders," which he was, and the minute he went somewhere else, all of a sudden he wasn't.
All of a sudden he got old, really quick.
Yeah.
Now the question, Russ, did the Rangers announce that the deal with Goudreau is signed?
No, they can't.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay, but there is speculation that the deal was agreed to 6 years, $3.6 million.
Why do you think there's that speculation, Mike?
Because it's actually the case.
No, but why do you think it got out there?
I don't know.
Just so Seattle won't even bother taking him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or Seattle.
That's why it got leaked out there.
Because I talked to somebody in Tampa who confirmed after we talked on the podcast yesterday, who confirmed the concept that they had heard that Seattle was trying to put that line together too. So that's an interesting thing.
That's fine, but that's why the Rangers leaked that out there.
Yeah,
so
the Rangers want that out there to make that more.
Kills all of that, and there's no reason for Francis to take him because he'll wait it out.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I guess the bigger name though that we really have to talk about is what I wrote about today, which is Gabriel Landeskog, who is. This has gone to the point now where it's gotten. At the beginning it was like, okay, they'll figure this out. They'll work it out. Sometimes in the NHL, things go south fast. This is the one that I was told really has gone south incredibly fast. And Landeskog's obviously a hugely important player for them, and one of the best in the league, and a big part of what might be the best line in the league. And now it really does appear, the chances are better. I'm about to throw on the rumor chart today. The chances are better now that Landeskog starts the season elsewhere. That he starts the season that he signs either with St. Louis, which I think is the favorite right now, or the Islanders, which is the other team that I've heard. But I think St. Louis is the definite favorite in this Landeskog thing, which is astonishing. I mean, Russ, what are your thoughts?
I think it's funny. I honestly think if it were me and I was Seattle, I would take him. I would select him.
I would go for it too. I would.
and I would offer him the $9 million he's looking for. And I'd say, listen, you want 9 by 8? We'll make you the captain. You'll be here when we're good. When we start to get good, you're young enough, and you could set the tone of this entire franchise.
The only thing about that I've heard is that he might really want to play for a contender.
Oh, I'm sure he might, but the idea is, where does that intersect with? This could be the biggest contract he'll ever get offered in his entire life.
Oh yeah, no, there's no question that this is, and and the tough thing about that is Landeskog really is a great player. He's got a lot of, his strength is probably in his just the heart and the determination he brings to the team.
He's a high character guy. He's a all effort guy.
But if he is the star on the team, that's not the best place for him to be, in my mind. That like if he is the go-to, like he is the top best player on the team. Is he really a top best player on a team?
No, but he's been a star. He was a star before he got to.
Oh yeah, no, he was. But
he was. So I mean,
even in his junior days, he was really more known for like being like tough in tough moments, fighting guys.
He's always going to be that, but it's like a Kachuk star. He was still a star.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day who had a really interesting point. They talked about remember the what was it called? The Triple Crown line in LA. For those who were young, it was Charlie Simmer, Dave Taylor, and Marcel Dion. Marcel Dion and Simmer were the stars of that line. Similar to the way, you have like, in Colorado, McKinnon and Ratton, they're the stars of that line.
Right.
But the other guy, which was Dave Taylor or, Gabriel Landeskog, was often what they felt like was the guy that made that line go. That really was that enabled those other two players to do what they wanted to do, to enable those other players to be able to.
I think especially in those days. I think it's a little different nowadays.
Yeah, it is a little different. But I do see that Landeskog plays that role on this line. And
he does, but I think the line could survive without him. I don't think we want to see that, but I think it could. Yeah. I mean, but I'm really curious though how they would survive without them. And will now, but if I'm Sakic and I'm looking at that $8-9 million, whatever we're talking about, I'm not blaming him for not making that. No, I'm not blaming him. But again, if you're Francis, you could really put the screws to Joe Sakic right away.
Yeah. What if you're Lou Lamoriello, who is now we know that he made the Ladd trade, and everyone was talking about, it doesn't matter what he does with the Ladd trade unless he does something significant with, it's not a good trade unless he turns around and does something with that cap space.
He's not going to spend the money on Landeskog.
You got to feel that he's got something like that up his sleeve to make that trade. That's how I felt. I might be wrong.
You want to know where he's going to spend the money? I think he's going to spend the money on Blake Coleman, somebody he knows.
Yeah. I mean, that's of course, that's a less expensive signing for sure.
Well, not anymore. It used to be.
But Coleman's not Landeskog territory.
No. But I mean, I don't think he has that kind of money anyhow, because he still has to sign Sorokin.
Yeah, I'm not convinced he does either.
So,
No, I agree with you on that one. So do you at the end of the day, what do you think? Is St. Louis the Islanders, or is he going to? You think he does end up in Seattle or back?
Well, I mean, I still think St. Louis. I think there's smoke there. I do think there's something to it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, but they have to get rid of Tarasenko to make that happen, right? Otherwise, they can't afford it.
Right, which is a lot of the pink thinking. I mean, they're trying to get rid of Tarasenko anyway, but now they really want to get rid of Tarasenko.
But if the thing is, the Flyers fan dream is, if Tarasenko goes, Voracek's coming back, but then that doesn't enable them to get Landeskog. So I don't know.
Well, the concept now that's out there, put out by Strickland and other people too, is the concept of Seattle taking Tarasenko and then flipping him to the Flyers.
They have no interest. I haven't heard anybody saying that Seattle's going to do anything of the like. So I'm going to go with Francis, who is generally not that guy. He never did it with Carolina, and I'm going to say he has no interest in doing it until I see him do it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The only thing I would say that could change that is, okay,
this is the hope of these other writers, of these other fan bases, of these other teams, that they would do something like that.
Well, I would say that with a lot of rumor guys, but knowing the story, Strickland, he's pretty tight with a lot of with the
he is
with Francis and with he's actually one of the guys. When you have to know the people who the people know, and this is one I listen to with Strickland because of the people involved. And I would think what could happen is something, along the lines of Tarasenko going to Seattle, Voracek, and like a first-round draft pick going to Seattle.
Yeah,
or Tarasenko. Like there would be a flip. There would be a flip there that it would be Voracek plus something else bigger. It's like a first-round draft pick or a prospect.
Okay, so I'll get back to that in 1 second. So I'm looking at St. Louis's cap, and they have $17 million, and there's still like Hoffman, Bozak, Schwartz. Are they all gone? Barbashev they're keeping because he's protected. He's got to get signed. Zach Sanford's got to get signed. Kairou's got to get signed. Thomas has to get signed. They have to move Tarasenko, or they can't even think about.
And the thing is, the thing is that doesn't make sense is if they're taking on Landeskog, that probably at least replaces the cap hit the Tarasenko.
No, what X talking about is sort of skillfully doing that with Seattle, but I don't know if Francis is doing that. I will tell you this:
he's not taking on money.
If Chuck Fletcher trades a first and Voracek for Tarasenko, that will be the last bad move he ever makes. The minute that team tanks, he will be out of there.
I don't disagree with you
at all. Would be a horrible trade.
The Flyers, though, are apparently in love with Tarasenko. And
I want to point this out, though. And I pointed it out yesterday. Nobody was happier than me when I was covering the Rangers and saw Pavel Bore come in, a bona fide superstar scorer. And so what? He had all these surgeries. So what? And he was great for a little while. Then he had to get another surgery. Then he was great when he came back. And then he was done. And I could see the same thing happening here with Tarasenko. And the argument is, well, if we could get rid of Voracek's contract, so what? We'll put him on LTIR. But then now you're down Voracek's points, and you're not getting Tarasenko's points. Where are they coming from?
People underplay. I mean, I don't think they underplay Voracek's value to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would like to see him off the team too, but I have to get something back because I'm losing 60 points there.
There's no guarantee that Tarasenko is better than Voracek.
Right.
But the problem is that they want the cap hit off.
I know.
Okay, so Mike, the cap hit's gone. I get Tarasenko.
Saves you 1 year.
Right. I get Tarasenko. He's gone at some point. Where am I getting all this scoring from, Mike?
You're hoping you're getting it from Farabee and Frost and the young guys.
Yeah. What did Hope get him last year?
Well, didn't get him anywhere.
No, but that's the point.
And all that stuff. I mean, there's no. I mean, they do have some young players that are coming up. They have, we saw.
It's one thing to trade Jake Voracek, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But it's also you've got to get something tangible or sign somebody tangible that is going to get equal or more points than big Jake Voracek, or it's not worth doing it.
Right, I get that, but what their mindset might be is if we can get rid of Voracek and not take any cap hit back, or just take nothing back, then we can sign 2 or 3 players with the $8 million that's cleared that will probably produce as much or more than Voracek. That might be their theory. I don't know if it's feasible, but
I don't think that happens now because of the flat cap. Like this isn't the old days where Lou could trade a first and Malakoff just to get rid of him. You can't do that anymore.
No, while I was gone, I didn't know whether you mentioned the Andy Strickland Subban thing.
No, we could definitely talk about that too.
And then we can talk about the players for Seattle for the Pearl and Pacific. Let me just say this. Okay, the contract for PK Subban, he's not a $9 million player. He's not a $4.5 million player. The only way that PK Subban goes to a team is if he gets filtered through Seattle and New Jersey retains 50%, meaning he's a $4.5 million player going to Seattle or going to another team like Detroit or New Jersey or Arizona, and then they retain 50% to trade. And nobody is doing that right now because they're using up a retention that can be used at the deadline. PK Subban is immovable. He's not the defenseman he even was 2 years ago. I'm sorry. That maybe that happens at the deadline as an expiring contract. It's not happening now. No way.
What's his actual money, Mike?
$9 million. Well, actual money is $2 million after the signing bonus.
Yeah, after the signing bonus. So if
that could be that could be a contract that Arizona is interested in because
to me that's what this is all about. Like this is not about taking him at this price, but this is about
Okay, well, the first thing is the Devils are going to have to pay the signing bonus. Nobody's paying the signing bonus.
Right. No, they are, and I think they know that.
It's been paid already on July 1st, or if it's at the beginning of the year, or the school year, which is the 28th.
But even after you pay it, when you bring Subban in, your locker room is going to change. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's not, but he brings a lot of attention. Yes. And all of a sudden now I'm bringing him into a locker room, and that attention that he brings, he doesn't bring you the same value on the ice anymore.
I said this, and this might be overstating it, but I don't think so. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. He may make more money in television than he would make as a hockey player in 2022. He might have to be a veteran. Now, he may want to continue his career because he's, 32, 33 years old, something like that. But he's probably going to have to be a $750,000 player.
No, somebody will give more than that, Mike.
Maybe as a defenseman, maybe $1.5 million.
He had 26 points, which factors out probably to 40.
Right, but he's played an awful lot.
I mean, if I was him,
I would
be looking to go to a market where you might want to continue that, where you would continue on with television. Like if you
get 30, he could still get 30 points in 82 games, so he'll get more than 782. He'll get more than that. He'll get like a couple million.
He's from Toronto. Toronto might be one option because Sportsnet.
Yeah, I think Toronto is a definite option because that if you want to go be involved in the media after you leave, Toronto's a great place to be.
And Russ knows. When we were at that draft in Chicago, when he got traded to Nashville, from Nashville to New Jersey, the talk on the draft floor was that the Leafs were.
Oh yeah, they were 100% in on him.
Yeah,
but
for a couple $1 million, I think the Leafs would take Subban. But again, I don't know about this year because they're really tight this year. So.
No. All right. But before we get into it, we're gonna start right away. But I do think we have to mention. I do want to talk about Luke Prokop yesterday. Which is really just a phenomenal story. Predators prospect, 19-year-old defenseman, first guy I guess who's actually signed an NHL contract because he has an NHL contract that has come out gay, and huge amount of courage. This kid just it's a great story. The story about him, there's two really good feelings about the story. Like the first feeling is that someone has the courage to do this, which is amazing. I mean, there are gay players in the NHL right now. There's don't even kid yourself to think there aren't. We've all heard the rumors.
All know that.
Yeah, we've all heard rumors about different players. I've heard confirmation about different players, but no one actually has come out and said it. And it's a shame that no one has come out and said it until now, and that this kid, comes out and says it, I think is just phenomenal.
What I think is great, and this comes on the heels of was it Nassib, the player in the NFL, right? This is becoming normal, and then thank God it is, because honestly, the stigma of being gay. Now there is no stigma. I have friends who are. I know people in media who are.
Yeah,
we know.
Well, I mean, there is in a sense that I love what Romeo said, that hey, we're gonna be good with this. I'm gonna clear the pathway for you. That's all great. That's still not gonna take away from slurs on the ice, because guys like Wayne Simmons get slurs. There's slurs all over the place still in this league, and the problem and the problem is that the league isn't necessarily going to take any great measures if that slur is said, just because he's a gay player that came out. And there's a little bit of something there that probably has to get augmented over time.
Russ, there are always idiots out there. There was, if we remember back in the day when Wayne Simmons was playing for Philadelphia and the game was in London, Ontario, they're throwing bananas on the ice. Some moron. Somebody at Yankee Stadium throws a ball.
It's stupid. I mean,
and that person was banned from Major League ballparks for life.
Which is
trying to keep him out if he pays.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is this, and some people say, who cares, which is wonderful to hear sometimes, because if who cares is done in the way of we don't care, it's fine. But the reality is, who cares are the other gay hockey players who are trying to deal with things.
Yeah, it matters for maybe the 10-year-old that is on on that path, and now he doesn't have to worry about it.
And that matters a lot to them. And the second part of the story, which was really fantastic to me, was hearing how the Predators handled it, and hearing how Poyle both Dave Poyle and his son, who's the assistant GM there, how they both handled it with such because let's face it, a little bit, it's not the easiest city to come out in as gay, like that Nashville and the country music scene and everything like that. I mean, there's a couple gay country music stars now, but it's still very new, and it's been years.
I think that city will be fine. There's other parts of Tennessee that won't be fine.
Yeah, but even I mean, yeah, but even
that's a bad state for a lot of things.
It's not like he's coming out in New York City or in San Jose or whatever, where it would be easier to do. This is Nashville, so for the Predators to step up right away and throw their support.
It was great what they did.
Was usually important. So I just wanted to. The
thing is the guy could actually play. Like he's a better player than the NFL player. I can't remember his name. Maybe Mike remembers.
Massive.
Yeah, he's a better player than that. Mike and I saw him in the top prospects game. He's a big defenseman who could skate. He has a little bit of offensive ability. I don't know if he's more than a third pairing guy, but I think he's an NHLer. And I think based on the fact of that's what sort of makes this monumental because, again, I've been sort of waiting to see when this would happen because I can't imagine what this will do and how much this will help younger players in that same predicament. Yeah,
no, I agree with you. And we're going to see some, I would love to see a star come out, at some point, and
it'd be great.
And that would definitely help. But
it is easy for us to say, hey, we wish it. I mean, there's always reasons. It's their reasons, and
sure.
Yeah,
and it's a personal thing. But it does help. No one likes to hear people talking about you behind your back and all this crap. So that it helps him to not have to deal with that anymore. He said, which I totally, it's out there. I'm not going to try to hide it. No,
but he's right. I mean. When he walks into a building, I think what he said was right. When he walks into a building, he doesn't have to think about that happening. Still doesn't mean it's not, but now he doesn't it's out there. And if somebody does say something, he could just say something right directly to that person and not have to, hide behind it. And that, that's freeing for somebody.
Absolutely.
All right.
So let's move on to our. We've got two divisions to pick today.
Yep. I will. Let's do them the Central first.
Yeah.
Alphabetical order. The Arizona Coyotes, who have moved over from the Pacific to the Central Division.
Yes, and I really I think that Russ was you were killing it yesterday, Russ, on this. So
but I got to pull up the list here because I didn't do every team. I did.
Yeah, no, you're doing it. It is hard to do because
I'll go first.
Start here.
You go first.
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. I had Christian Fisher as the guy who I'd take because he had a few decent years. He's still young enough that he could turn it around. He's not making a ridiculous amount of money. That's who I would take. Russ.
I'm looking at it, and I think Fisher is a good one, actually, because Fisher, he's never going to be a star, but he is a proven NHLer. You can put him on the third line. He's a center, right?
Center or wing, I think.
Yeah, so he could play center because Kevin was talking about there being a shortage of center, so I think that's actually a good pick.
The other one, well, you take yours, and then I'll just mention the a lot of rumor is about.
Well, mine, I heard this from somebody, and I was really having a tough time figuring out who I thought on this list as well for this team particularly because this is obviously Arizona's a tough team to figure out who they even have. They're such a bizarre team. But someone had told me that Michael Bunting was involved in this, and I know he's UFA, but I think that seems to be the prevailing.
Well, he's a Group 6 UFA, but the reason that everybody was talking about him is because he had 10 goals in 20 games. And that average out to 82, that's a 40-goal scorer, and I don't know if he's signed him. Right, well, because he didn't play enough games to qualify to be an RFA. It was one of the
I see.
Yeah, he was a Group 6. So it's like Nedeljkovic was a Group 6 UFA if he hadn't played a certain amount of games, but he qualified, so now he's an RFA, arbitration eligible.
Yeah, no, I see. Okay.
But Bunting has been mentioned, so that
I've heard his name mentioned when I was calling around about rumors. Everyone keeps talking about him, so I'm gonna go with that one. I'll go with him.
Chicago, Russ.
Chicago.
Chicago. I think I have Chicago.
While you're looking up, I'll tell you mine. I had Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov. He's an RFA, one year away from UFA, but he's a beast And again, if he's not part of your long-term future, if you're Seattle, he will draw a lot in terms of return for a team looking for toughness on the blue line at the deadline. So I would take Zadorov.
You know, what's interesting is I think I go Brett Connolly. Brett Connolly is a proven NHLer, and when he's healthy, he can score you 15 goals, and he plays tough. I'm going to go Brett Connolly. I think there's still something there. He's not like he's an old man.
Ack.
You know who I like when I watched Chicago last year, and this is kind of maybe a little bit off the board, but I really liked him a lot when I saw him play, and I was surprised a little bit that they didn't protect him, was Ryan Carpenter. You know, and he's definitely a bottom six guy, but he has something to his game that feels like an expansion team type of a game. Like it feels like, you know, I'm still looking for players to play fast. You know, I really want I think that was the key to Vegas, and I want to see Seattle not put together a big hulking team, but like a really.
No, I don't think you're going to put together a big hulking team, but you need some guys like Connolly, because otherwise you don't make the other fast guys go.
You do. That would be my guy.
Colorado.
All right, I got Colorado. I can start with this one because this is one of the ones I really feel strongly about, and that is Joonas Donskoi. Donskoi to me is a no-brainer in this. He's a $3.9 million cap hit, but he is definitely. I mean, I've liked him ever since he was on San Jose. He has huge amounts of, like, there are moments when you watch this guy when you're like, the skill level that he plays on is extremely high. He's not ultra consistent, but he does feel very much like, again, like a Marchessault type character who's bounced around a little bit, but shows at times these incredible abilities to make great plays.
Yeah, he doesn't have the offense of Marchessault, but yeah, I agree with that. Russ?
I'm going to go Matt Calvert because that's a guy who gets double-digit goals every year. He can penalty kill.
But he's a UFA.
Oh, he is a UFA because he's on the list. Okay.
He's on, the UFA. I hate that they put the UFA on the list on the end.
Yeah, that kind of bugs me. All right, so then,
it makes it really hard.
Well,
because I don't know who everybody is that's a UFA. I haven't vetted these guys out.
I think you agree with me on this one, so let me put out mine.
Yeah, put out yours.
It was JT Compher.
Yeah, Compher is the other one I'm really looking at. I agree with that because he does win faceoffs. He could possibly be your second line or third line center.
And there's not much to criticize Joe Sakic over the last few years for the moves that he's made. But how, for the love of God, he doesn't protect JT Compher and he protects turncoat Nazem Kadri, who undercut his team last year like he did Toronto twice, just baffles the mind. I don't know how, for the love of God, you can protect Kadri over Compher. It makes no sense at all.
We know why. Because it's hard to replace Kadri.
It's easy to.
There are not many of them. I mean, he's a rare type of player. They don't exist.
Yeah. Okay. The Dallas Stars.
It's not Ben Bishop. I'll tell you that.
But honestly, the pickings are really slim on this.
Yeah, my guy is Adam Masherin, which is like.
Yeah, he's never come around, but he has
the potential. Yeah, he's got that potential. He definitely is cheap. He's not. This is where they not going to spend any money. I think he's a bottom six guy too. But
I went with Julius Honka because he's young enough that he could turn and he needs an opportunity in the NHL and he's not getting it in Dallas. But Russ, what do you think?
No, I do like Honka in the sense that I think that even if he doesn't start the season with him again, you're going to have some guys that you send to the AHL. Who are they sharing affiliations with? I forget.
They're in Texas, right?
They're Texas. They're in
Texas Stars. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking Seattle. Sorry. Yeah. So they Texas Stars. So no, but it is Seattle. If he goes to Seattle, who are they sharing with Texas? Is that what you're saying?
No. Texas is by itself. Dallas is by itself. Seattle's.
No. But who's Seattle sharing with?
I don't know. Somebody in the chat probably know, but it's not Texas.
Okay. Because again, if Honka doesn't make it that minute, he is a guy that you can call up.
Charlotte is with Seattle.
Okay, with Charlotte. So yeah, I think Honka is a good choice actually.
Okay, Minnesota. Act, do you want to go first?
Yeah, and this is pretty obvious, right? I mean, this is Capo Kakinen. I mean, there's just I can't believe he's left. I can't believe I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why he wasn't protected.
Yeah, and he could get flipped somewhere else. I mean, but now I'm under the understanding that they are limited to 4 goalies. If they're not limited to 4 goalies, they could take more. They could flip more goalies. And I think
no, but I hear it's 4. But
I mean, did they think that Cam Talbot would be taken if they? I mean,
I don't get it. I don't get it. He played half their games. Talbot's 34 years old.
I know Talbot had a great year for them, but the thing that's keeping them, to me, I mean, they are so close to being a top contender in this league, and it's like they're not going to be with Talbot, but I thought they could be with Kakkonen, so I'm confused.
The only thing I'll tell you about Kakkonen is, and again, I am not a goalie expert, but he is a little bit unorthodox in net, and because Talbot did so well, I think they're just worried about he won't come back, and Kakkonen's not ready, so we have to do it this way if we want to stay competitive. I think that's really. It's not so much as a knock on Kakkonen as much as they kind of need to keep this team moving forward because they've got to have fans in the building.
Now, Nashville exposed both Duchesne and Johansson. I don't know anybody who's predicting them to take.
Yeah, there's no way.
Nope.
I would go with Colton Sissons because Sissons is inexpensive but locked up long term, and I think he's a decent player. So you get him at a cost certain amount of less than $3 million, and it's a long term, but it's not a bad pickup.
I was shocked that they went with the 5 defenseman thing. Like I mean, I know Poyle loves their defense, loves the defense, but my gosh, I mean, Sissons has been amazing for them, and he's really cheap. He's a great contract. I agree. It's just absolutely. I mean, Kyle Yarncroc is really good too. But the
only thing about Sissons is it's not a great contract in the sense that you don't really know how long he's going to play.
Right, the term. It's the term, but the amount is right. And somebody said Granlund in the chat. Granlund's a UFA, so
he's a UFA. Yeah, I mean, I was firmly for a long time thinking that Sissons would be protected. I was going Yarncroc,
Well, Nick Cousins has only got a year left in his contract.
Yeah, that's my guy. I think it's Cousins because I could instantly plug him in. Right. He could be my 3rd line center. He's got speed. I could flip him at the deadline if need be, if he doesn't want to re-sign with this franchise.
True.
I'm going to go Nick Cousins.
Okay, barring the unforeseen and them taking Tarasenko. Was Tarasenko? Was he protected? No, he wasn't protected.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. So barring the unforeseen, then taking Tarasenko, let's go St. Louis.
There's another obvious one.
Well, to me, Vince Dunn.
Yeah, this is Vince Dunn all the way. He becomes one of the top.
There is for me. There's a school of thought. If I don't think Vince Dunn is signing with me, then he's going UFA, and if he's going UFA, he's not coming back.
Well, after one more year, he's an RFA now, I think.
Yeah, he's an RFA
now. To me,
so I got to pay him. I'm going to have to pay him like $4 million.
But this is Dunn's going to sign with them because Dunn is if any player in the league needs to get time and prove that what they can do with time, it's Vince Dunn. Like he is the guy. Like this is the perfect situation for Vince Dunn. Like
it might be perfect for Vince Dunn. It's not perfect for Seattle because they have to pay him. They're gonna have to give him like $3.5 million, something like that.
You know, be perfect for Vince Dunn. Vince Dunn going to Arizona, who has no defenseman. That's perfect.
I'm gonna go Sam Anas because he is a guy who's a point a game in the minors. He was a guy that had a lot of buzz in his draft year. He's not the biggest guy. He's 5'8", but he also plays center or wing. I would put him on the wing. There's a lot of goal scoring ability in him, and he had 20 goals 2 years ago for Iowa. Yeah. I give him a chance because he has never, ever, ever gotten a chance, and I think it's because of the size, not because of anything else.
Now, Winnipeg didn't have many options here in terms of protecting because they have so many good forwards. If I was Seattle, I'd take Mason Appleton. He was a presence on their 3rd line. He's not ridiculously expensive. He's not old. He plays, and again, he's a guy that if you keep in the organization, he stays and he works for you. And if you want to flip him at the deadline, he's somebody that a contending team would be interested in. So I'd go Appleton.
This I think the Jets totally screwed up in not protecting Dylan DeMello. I think of all the guys. I mean, this is a team that needs defensemen, that needs guys that you can trust. he's one of the few guys they have that you can trust on
Well,
defense.
he's affordable, right? He's an affordable deal.
He's $3 million signed to 2024.
Well,
That's what I think it is. I think it's Dylan DeMello too.
this is the reasoning why, because they were afraid. They knew that they were going to lose Logan Stanley if they didn't.
Yeah.
I have to step away for a sec, guys. Hold on.
Like, no
Yeah,
problem.
I think it's Dylan DeMello. I think you're right on there.
Like, how did the Flyers not try to trade for Dylan DeMello? You know what I mean? Like, that would, to me, that's the perfect kind of guy that would have been
I'll tell
great.
you what. Okay,
Along
so
with Ellis, like Ellis and DeMello, and you're set.
no, but this is right now. The Flyers were just set on that top pairing guy, right?
Yeah.
They were set on that. Now their next mission is to get rid of Voracek. So
Yeah,
they aren't even thinking about Dylan DeMello.
Yeah, that's foolish. Obviously, I mean, it's.
I
Like,
don't think it's the right thing, but I'm just telling you that's their approach right now.
and I agree with you. And the one thing I will go on Fletcher about, and ever since he was in Minnesota, he's done the same thing. Is his inability to like multitask as a GM, I've noticed, is really kind of astonishing. Like, you need to look in both things at the same time here. You need to be, and the Voracek thing is so much, pretty much out of your control. Like, there's only certain places you can go with that. It depends how much you can get rid of him if you're willing to give up, like I said, like a first-round draft pick in him for Tarasenko. You can make that deal, I think, but that's a risky deal, because obviously first-round draft picks are, you got a pretty good first-round draft pick this year, and you make the playoffs, and you're looking at is Voracek that much better than Tarasenko at the end? Maybe not, So, but yeah, Dylan DeMello, man, that's
a good get.
It's a really good. I mean, he becomes one of their top 4 guys too. There's no questions asked. Before Mike comes back here, how are you feeling this team is shaping up? Like, what are your thoughts, Russ, as far as?
Honestly, I think the team will be decent. I think they could be just under like NHL 500. Whether they make the playoffs or not, I think they probably miss in the end, because I don't think they're going to try and do anything at the deadline to make the playoffs and start trading off some young assets or anything.
Yeah.
So, but I think they'll be entertaining. I think ultimately the difference in fan bases, like, I understand Vegas's approach, and like I said, it's going to cost them down the line, but I understand their approach because they felt like they needed to ignite the fan base. You don't have to do that in Seattle. They will be with them, and they will be patient. They were patient with their soccer team. Didn't they win it all?
Oh yeah, their soccer team. I mean, that if you walk downtown Seattle, all you see are those soccer jerseys everywhere. Like that. My wife
carry the owner.
Yeah. I mean, my wife has the company she works for is located in Seattle, so I've been out there a couple times with her just for take the trip. And yeah, that they're just that soccer team, and that color. The soccer team.
Same kind of support will happen for the hockey team, and so I think you can go 2-3 years and be competitive, but not be a playoff team and still be okay. And I think. If Francis comes out after the expansion draft and says, "Look, I like what I see here. Maybe we sign a player or two. We want some cap flexibility. Give us 3 years to get all this squared away, and by year 4, I think we could do something."
Okay. Did I miss any teams?
No, we just talked about how we think this team. We just decided to talk about how we think this team is looking so far. So we're back.
Let's start with the Pacific. That's small. There's only 6 teams because Vegas is exempt and Seattle's in the division.
Yeah,
I'm with Anaheim. I'm going to the old home week, meaning a Ron Francis former first-round pick, and that's Hayden Fleury, the defenseman.
That's where I am too. The same thing. And I think then I'm starting to like this defense. Like, I'm starting to really like this defense when I look at it. Like, with Dunn, DeMello, Fleury, and we got some more guys coming up, and Gostisbehere possibly. I mean, this defense is not terrible.
Russ, it's going to look like the the Charlotte Checkers defense if it's Jake Bean and Hayden Fleury.
Yeah, like Jake Bean. I mean, this defense is there's something to it.
I got to tell you, I think I would take Josh Mahora instead. I think Josh Mahora is better than Hayden Fleury. I think if you look past the size of Hayden Fleury, Josh Mahora is an actual better defenseman, and he's been playing a little bit.
Okay, let's see. Calgary. Well, I think we all know.
Yeah, this is the big night. This is the big money they're going to spend, right? This is the guy that I think you'll see at the press conference tomorrow.
Well, here's the question, because the rumor du jour, actually more than just du jour, has been they're going to take Giordano and they're going to flip him to Edmonton or flip him someplace like a contender and not have to retain anything because Giordano is still pretty good at 37 years old and
Yeah.
make 6 point. I mean, how realistic do we think that is?
I think it's a 50% chance.
How realistic is it that they bring him Giordano?
No, that they that they pick him and trade him.
No, they're not going to trade him and pick him.
I think there's a 50% chance they pick him. I don't think they're picking him to trade him.
No, I think there's a 85% chance that they pick him and they're keeping him. I think that they see him as their captain. They see this is the guy who's going to put the C on this jersey, and he's going to be the guy who's going to lead them.
If you pick him, you probably are making him your captain.
Right.
Yeah.
The only other player that I like on their list is Oliver Shillington.
Right. What's his contract status?
I believe he's an RFA. So, but he wasn't making a lot of money. So let's see here. Shillington. Yeah, he's an RFA. Coming off his ELC. So, he's still got, he's not making a ton of money. He's, somebody just really hasn't had the opportunity.
I mean, he's a decent puck mover. You're not going to get much points out of him, but he's a decent puck mover. Probably could play 18 minutes or so.
Yeah, he's 24 years old. He made less than $800,000 year. So, but I think more than likely they're going to go, they're going to go with Giordano. But
I think it is one or the other. But I do think Giordano is the marketable.
Did they make the right play protecting Tanev over Giordano?
Yeah, because Tanev has the term. I mean,
I know he's young and he's got the term and all that stuff, but yeah.
Well, younger, but yeah.
And will this be a situation where, like, do you think Calgary tried to make offers so they wouldn't pick Giordano?
And that might still be the case.
Yeah.
I mean,
The thing about Shillington is he's only been getting 13 minutes of ice time the last couple of years with Calgary. He would get more with Seattle, and probably worthy of getting more. That's a tough one. I mean, that's one where the owner's going to make the call. I could see it going either way, honestly.
Now, Edmonton, if I was picking and I was you or you, I would take Alex Stalock since you love Alex Stalock so much. But
Alex Stalock, I re-signed him on my fantasy team, Mike. So shut up.
In my feeling, they have enough goalies. I wouldn't be taking Alex Stalock here.
Right. Do you take a risk and take Clefbaum?
No,
I was surprised he wasn't protected.
I think the guy I would go for is Jujhar Khaira because
I just want to say this one thing because I was on the call, the Ken Holland call. The way he was talking about Clefbaum, there was definitely a chance he is never going to play again.
Right. Yeah. That's the rumor out there is that he's done career.
Yeah. I think that's got to be the case if he's not protected, put it that way.
Right.
But Jujhar Khaira is a big forward, and size. There's not a lot on this, not a lot available here that I would really want. But he's probably the best of a bad lot.
Well, the other guy,
I'll tell you who I'm taking. I'm going Tyler Benson.
That's the other guy. That's the other guy.
I'm putting him on my starting opening night roster, and I'm saying, kid, you've waited your time. You never got a chance. Go show us what you can do. Even if he's a winger and he's not a center, fine. But that kid can play a little bit, and he's all heart. And so, you know what? That's who I'm taking.
As opposed to Edmonton, where I thought the pickings were slim, LA, there are two names that really pop for me. Actually, three. Cale Clegg on defense.
Yeah.
Carl Grunstrom, the former Leaf prospect. Did they protect? No, they protected Trevor Moore. Okay, so actually two. And if between the two, I would go with Grunstrom. Young, quick, feisty. I think there's a lot there. He hasn't had a lot of opportunity with LA, and I think he would probably benefit from going to someplace like Seattle and getting a lot of playing time.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two guys I was looking at too, Mike. I was sort of leaning towards Clegg a little bit more, but as I look at the whole if I was to put this all together, I would look and see how many defensemen I have because I think I've been picking a lot of defensemen. So I think
you're going to send some to Charlotte too,
right?
Now, but you do need more forwards too. So
Brendan Lemieux, do you think that's a possibility? No.
I think Brendan Lemieux sort of has to take a step back and make himself more marketable by keeping his mouth shut.
So who do you like?
I still like Clegg. Clegg is a talent. And even if I tell Clegg, hey, listen, opening night, you're not going to be on the roster. Go show me what you can do in Charlotte.
Yeah.
We can bring you up during the year, which they could. I think that's fine. Because, again, they could trade a defenseman or two if they wanted to. But, again, you're going to need at least a couple, 2 or 3 for the minors too.
Yeah.
You have to.
You do. You definitely do. I mean, someone in the chat room said Blake Lizotte. I like Blake Lizotte too.
Lizotte's not bad. I just think Clegg, because he could possibly be a second pairing defenseman, especially if he gets the chance, that's a lot to pass on.
It's true. I mean, to me, you have to look at what they have around, but they are starting to look quick and young, and they're starting to look like like they should.
Just like Giordano's gone in a year, so when he's gone, he's that's it for him.
Right. Yeah. And
okay, San Jose.
Yeah.
Again, pickings were slim here. Russ, I'm just making sure that.
Give me a minute to scroll.
No, I'm just making sure this guy's okay. Ryan, they didn't protect Ryan Donato, and Ryan
Donato's the guy for me.
Yeah, Ryan Donato can score, so he's young. So that's who I was thinking about.
Yeah, he's 25, I think.
I'm
going to go Ryan Donato.
Yeah, I think they have one of the weakest lists on there, as people you can get. But I will say that they have a kid from Seattle on that list, and I think that in Dylan Gambrell, sorry,
he hasn't been quite
from Seattle.
Yeah, but I think Tyler Johnson. You're going to pick just the Seattle guy. I think he's still a better.
Yeah, but
Seattle
I think
guy.
But there's no harm in we don't know about we don't know what's happened with Tyler Johnson yet. But there is no
player.
There's no harm in with that list. Like you might as well take a shot at a local kid.
Maybe, but he hasn't really proven himself, and I don't know if he's gonna prove himself. Like I knew he would make it to the pros from college, but he really hasn't taken a next step, and that's a worry.
Yeah, and if nobody's taking Martin Jones, Alexander in the chat, and C-Mac, the defenseman, he might be a decent choice, but based on how many defensemen are out there, I think they'll pass on him for younger and cheaper.
Like Gambrella's probably a 10-goal guy, and Donato's probably like a 16-goal guy.
Yeah, and I like Donato. Donato has shown some flair. And
plus, he has some power play time. He could get 20 if you give him legitimate power play time.
Now, okay, and finally, Vancouver. There has been some speculation about Cole Lind. There have been some rumors about Jake Virtanen. I still think, and I'll keep saying this until I'm proven wrong, I think they're taking Braden Holtby and they're flipping Holtby.
This comes down to Carey Price. Like this, if they don't take Carey Price, I'm with you, Mike, 100%.
Well, no, I mean, if they take Carey Price, I think they're still taking Holtby and flipping him. They're sending him.
No, I think Jake Virtanen is worth it. A shot. I mean, who knows, right? He's been so many back and forths with him for sure. Tough to say, but I would take it. I think he is worth it if they can't if Price is the wrong Price isn't picked there. I don't know. That's how what do you think, Russ?
There's too much goal scoring potential in Cole Lind to just pass on him. So I'm going to take Cole Lind.
Yeah, he's been stuck behind a number of forwards with Vancouver over the last few years. He's got talent.
Yeah.
And he's young still. I think he's 23, 22. There you go. So yeah. But I still think there's like I said, until I'm proven wrong, I think they're going to trade for Holtby or they're going to pick Holtby and flip him. So we'll see.
It's possible.
I think there's a chance. I mean, there's definitely a chance.
I've said, that I know New Jersey has serious interest in Holtby, so I think that's going to be. I mean, he could end up there through some kind of a flip trade.
New Jersey has money, so they,
And Toronto is as the 1B to Campbell. If they retain salary, I still think that's a logical avenue.
Possibility.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what we'll be talking about next, guys, after all this is said and done.
Yeah, but like Bill C said, with those other things that happened off ice now, nobody's touching Jake Virtanen.
Yes.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Those allegations and have not been knocked down. They're
Right.
still hanging over his head. So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, probably at the end of the day, I would agree with you guys. I would probably go with Cole in probably too then, because you're probably right about that. But I think that I mean, I think they look. I mean, the division they're coming into is probably the weakest division in the NHL. So do they have a shot?
Well, everybody says that, Eck, and even like Mick said that when I went on air today, and he's like, everybody's saying it's the weakest, but we all have to admit, like Ryan Ellis said on the press conference today, he was asked to talk about his team and talk about that division, and he goes, I've been playing the same 7 teams for a year. I haven't played teams for 2 years.
Right.
You really don't know.
Right. You really don't know. It's true. And I mean,
he's honest with that. He's right about that.
I mean, the possibility here that the Kings are going to get better faster than we thought, that exists to me. That the Kings could get better.
I do think it exists. There is a possibility of that.
Yeah, but you've got the 2 other California teams are terrible.
Yes.
You know, they're
both in rebuilds for sure.
Well, one is a rebuild in Anaheim. The other one is you can't demolish it because you can't get rid of the players that you'd like to in San Jose. I think Vancouver, by process of elimination, is going to could be in the top 3, along with Edmonton and maybe Vegas.
The only thing, Mike, is if Zegras were to hit big,
yes,
if they have Gibson, it could change the fortunes of Anaheim.
Yeah,
right.
Anaheim, I mean, they could battle.
And they're probably gonna add more players because they have a lot of cap space and they might find some bargains out there. But so you've got
let's just say it like this. Bob Murray has the greatest life expectancy of any NHL GM, because I could have told you any time in the last 5 years why he would get fired, and he hasn't. So it's really astonishing when you think about it.
And at this point, obviously they're going to rebuild with him.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a superb team in this division past Vegas. Edmonton is great in terms of their offense with McDavid and Draisaitl, but they're flawed defensively and they still haven't solved their goaltending issues.
But they probably still make the playoffs, Mike. I know you're not going to say that.
But I'm saying based on how bad the division is and the talent that they have up front, they'll cover up their flaws with offense. But once they get to the playoffs, if they don't have anything better than Mike Smith, they're going to lose in the first round again.
Yeah, I mean, look, and Bill C makes a good point. I am a big Jack Rathbone guy. He and Demko are buddies. Their families are buddies, and so he will play hard for Thatcher Demko, and he is an offensive defenseman. If they get a few breaks and they could get rid of a contract, sign a right player there for a change, they could still come back and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're not that far off.
I mean, it's going to depend. Edmonton's one of those teams. For Edmonton, at least, it's going to depend on goalies. It's going to depend who they get, where they land, and that's going to be the craziness of the next week after tomorrow. What happens after tomorrow will really be fascinating because we have a week until UFA day, and
tomorrow, I hope tomorrow night we get this picture from Carey Price in his hospital room with you'll see like a Canadian something behind him, and we'll be like, all right, it's over. Finally, it's all over.
Here's what I think is what has to happen with the Carey Price thing is it has to be resolved today. Like at some point,
resolved today.
No, I'm not saying it has to be resolved today. Okay, but if they are not picking him, if Seattle just says forget it, we're not taking him. There's nothing stopping them from just coming out and saying that.
Heck, they're going to let this drag on until 8:30. I don't
think so.
Wait, come on. If you're talking about ratings and you're talking about drawing attention, you're going to have the entire province of Quebec, biting their fingernails and other excruciatory things until they hear Paul Byron or Cale Fleury.
Plus, you weren't really legitimate there because if he's going to come out and say that, he's going to say it in French first.
Sacre bleu.
He's going to give them the scoop before we ever hear about it.
We're going to know before the show starts whether Price
it depends
is
if Renee Laveau,
it'll be somebody McKenzie or somebody will say it's not like at some point
tonight on his Instagram account.
if the NHL has not arranged with the insiders to keep their mouths shut, then this show is not even worth watching.
Well, I will say this. Look, even if Carey Price is in Seattle, he's still going to get interviewed whether he gets taken or not because he's Carey Price.
Right.
But no matter what, he's going to be on the show.
If I remember, Russ, well, because we were in Chicago.
Maybe you wouldn't have Carey Price on to say
no.
Yes,
if he's not picked, if he's not picked, you don't have him on. No,
Russ. If I remember right, when we were in the Airbnb in Chicago in 2017, that we knew about a few players, but we didn't know about the bulk of them.
No, we didn't. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we had suspicions like, Colin Miller was going to be taken from Boston and Derek England and a few other.
We knew about a few. There were definitely some surprises. But Carey Price is a media guy. Like, I'm having him on the show no matter what.
Yes.
I mean, I think I think in Canada they will, but I don't know if they have him on the NHL Network.
Yes, they will.
If he's not
one
picked.
of the biggest names. He just played in the Stanley Cup. Carey Price, what's it like that you're still in Montreal? Carey Price, what's it like to be a member of the Kraken? Like, it's a no. If he's a member of the Kraken, no questions asked. But if he's not picked, it's really not a story.
If he's a member of the Kraken, if they're taking him, if he's not one of the 6 players that comes out of the fish or whatever the hell he's coming out of whatever the fake Kraken in Seattle, then then their PR staff is dropping the ball. I mean,
I'm sorry, Mike. So the Kraken's fake now, but Carlton the Bear is real. Is that where you're going with this?
Kraken. Tell me what a Kraken is.
It's a giant.
There's a picture, Mike. You saw the picture.
Yeah. I've seen pictures of the.
It's a mythological beast.
I've seen the pictures of.
No, as a cryptozoologist, I am a cryptozoologist, as you guys know. A Kraken. The Kraken was a mythological beast.
You had to go there.
It was a mythological beast, but now most people consider the Kraken to be what now we know as an existing animal called the giant squid that we didn't know about for many years.
I'm going to call them the Seattle Sasquatch tomorrow on the webcast that we're going to have at 8:00 when the picks are made.
I just thought a giant squid was called a giant squid, but okay. I defer to you.
Giant squids did not. No one filmed one until like 2010.
No,
like,
I get that. I remember that.
People didn't know whether or not they actually existed. Now, for those in the chat room, going to go at me here. Yes, the Kraken, the images of the Kraken as it was drawn into the mythological creature was drawn as in general as an octopus, but it is the Kraken has been widely accepted now to not be like an octopus, to be actually a giant squid.
He wanted to one up me. He had the opportunity and he took it. Let's get the show there.
Film a Kraken.
This is one of my area expertise.
All the credit.
I'll give you prospects all day of the week, but don't go after me about cryptids. I know my cryptids.
See, at least he's being honest. Good. There you go. Yeah, I didn't go after you. I just said what I knew it used to be.
I'm staying out of this. I think
Seattle did blow up by not being the Sasquatch. I agree with everybody in the chat room is saying that. But I would like a giant blow up Kraken with the players that they selected being held above their head and giant arms. That would be fantastic. Remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey. We will talk to you tomorrow night. Remember, tomorrow night, no show during the day. We'll see you then.